In this video today, we are going to be taking a look at some of the most annoying cards coming to us in Set 3 Unleashed Riftbound. So, obviously, this is opinion-based. Some of these cards you might not see often, but when you do, if they work, they'll be really annoying. Some of them are really cool cards, but will be frustrating to play against. And some are just cards that are a bit memey, but when they come off, they're going to be pretty crazy. Obviously, it's just opinion. It's a bit more of a fun video. If you'd like to see me do a video like this for Set 1 or 2, do let me know. And please do consider subscribing to the channel. It does help the channel to grow, and I appreciate the support. So, we've tried to pick a mix of every colour. I actually had Vi Hot-Headed as the first one, but I think I've accidentally clicked off of it. Anyway, Vi Hot-Headed, that we should be looking at right now. One of the things that makes her so good, obviously, is just being able to double her might. That is really annoying, but obviously, annoying cards, one of the things is you should have knowledge. A good player will be able to play around certain stuff. Obviously, the most annoying cards are probably going to be stuff you can't particularly play around. However, I do think in general that most cards, if not nearly all, you can counterplay and play around them. Just some are a bit harder. This one here, very, very powerful card. While I'm at a battlefield, your other units here have deflect. If you play against the Vex and she goes first, and you don't have an extra way of scoring extra points on your turn, like Trinity Force, and she gets a couple of units down, she gets this card there, you are in for a world of pain. Because she can probably play the one that makes it so you can't enter units ready that turn. So you're very rarely going to have turns where you just stack the battlefield and quickly kill them. And she can probably stun stuff. This card here, giving deflect to everything, makes it even more impossible. When deflects on everything, you can't just kill a bunch of stuff with spells. This card is one of the best cards in Set 3, in my opinion. Vilemore, knowing that the opponent could just out of nowhere just ambush you with it. They can attack, basically enters ready. The when I hold draw one's really powerful. But then that enemy units here with less might than me don't deal combat damage. That is very hard for a lot of decks to get around. Very crazy card. Sprite Fountain. For 2 energy, 1 power, they're getting 6 might worth of sprites. Works really well with Lilia. I think Lilia's deck in general is quite a frustrating, annoying deck to play against. This is a very good card in certain matchups and will be very annoying to play against because there's not a lot you can do against it. LeBlanc everywhere at once. Now, LeBlanc's got different ways you can build her, in my opinion. The most popular one I'm seeing so far tends to be the Death Knell triggers with Karthus. However, there is going to be versions that come up built around this card where temporary units don't die. That's going to be pretty crazy and powerful in general. And I think this card, because of that, will be popular. Repulse. Now, if you're an orange player, this is not an annoying card. This is the best card to be released ever in Riftbound so far. You can actually counter stuff. However, orange has lots of huge units and big stuff. It's going to be very annoying playing against orange now because orange, their main weakness, and I think colours should have weaknesses, I guess, was that they just couldn't counter stuff, so you could blow them out with certain stuff. You're not going to be able to do that anymore. Starcrossed. Any single card that's got the ability to basically rebuke, send your units back, it's going to be really annoying. There's going to be some really crazy synergies with this as well, like Pike and sending units back. Existential Dread. Again, kind of another rebuke. Purple is definitely the most annoying colour in Riftbound. I don't think anyone would disagree about that. Maybe some people might say yellow with like Hidden Blades and Call of the Weeks, but purple, very annoying. Getting a stun that can also turn into rebuke. It's pretty crazy. Bone Skewer, another crazy purple card. I think this will be run in a lot of purple decks. The ability to 1 see hand knowledge. Like, just think about this. Sabotage is 1/1. And obviously you do get to pick a spell Sabotage. But this is 1 more energy. You get to choose any unit, bring it to your battlefield, stun it. You can effectively execute any unit in their hand and see their hand. This is a crazy card. I honestly think if this had been 4 energy, it still would have been a card that got played. And this is an insane card. Vex, Apathetic. A lot of people say this might be the best card coming in Set 3. No power cost. Comes in with Deflect. Absolutely counters so many strategies in Set 3. When an opponent plays a unit while I'm at a battlefield, stun it. means ambush can't do anything. LeBlanc's deck gets really hurt. Lilia gets really hurt. And this is going to be a very powerful card. I'm interested to see what the price of Vex is. Bewitching Spirit, I don't think I really need to explain why this is annoying. When you play me, choose a player, they discard one. That is just really, really awful to play against. That is not going to be a fun experience for anyone who has to play against that. If they get the nuts with Pike and they start getting lots of stuff out, you're not going to have a fun time. I've played Pike and I don't find him that bad in general. In terms of, I find him one of the easy decks to beat. However, I've played 1 or 2 games where they've got 2 or 3 of these early on, and I've had no card in hand. You can't beat someone if you can't play a card. Shadow's Call. Choose a friendly unit without temporary. Give it temporary. Now, this card is more so based on how good it is with like LeBlanc. It was not going to be used outside of LeBlanc for the most part, I don't think. There might be some decks that use it with like Honest Brokers or Soaring Scouts and the low-cost units just to get more draw. But giving 2 draw away in decks that almost helps is pretty crazy. Galio, a really low-cost unit. And a lot of yellow are going to be a lot better this set because of their synergies with Glass Mixologist. Galio, very good at this. Going to be a very hard unit for a lot of decks to get around. Atakan, just by pure that when I attack, the defender must kill one of their units here. That is a pretty special card. I do think LeBlanc's will try get this in. I think this is going to be pretty powerful. And the thing is about that as well, it doesn't take deflect. You don't choose something so people aren't even going to be able to deflect it or not so fast it. This one here, I've seen people have 2 cartridges out and get 6 draws off a temporary version of this Maiden LeBlanc. Absolutely outrageous, and it is a very powerful early chosen champ. Very cool card art, by the way. But yeah, this card, very, very good. And the draw power, the assault, being able to be an early unit, very good card. Rift Herald, again, I think yellow's getting a lot of annoying stuff in set 3. With this, just being able to get the Death Knell trigger again, playing a unit from your hand, ignoring its base, ignoring its energy cost, very crazy. The Ruination might be a very, very rare one we don't see often. I imagine there's going to be some cool decks that you'll start to see more of this. If people can get this working, this is going to be a pretty crazy card. Some signatures. Thrill of the Hunt. Thrill of the Hunt is basically a better Ride the Wind. This looks a pretty crazy. It's basically Ride the Wind. However, it's going to allow you to get an on-play effect. You can do this with Brynir, for example. So, pretty crazy card. I'm very intrigued to see how this one actually plays out. Lilting Lullaby. In Lilia, basically stopping your opponent from being able to do any spells. Very good card. Can you counter this one? I think you can. You can react with a counter, but obviously you'd have to have like a wind wall or something. Alpha Strike. Very good card that's going to be able to clear up battlefields. And with Yi, getting XP, very good card. This is quite a unique card and I quite rate it. Moonfall, very powerful card in Dinah. I've played Dinah a few times. Don't think she's that good when I tend to play. However, this card can blow you out and can do some pretty crazy things. Mirror Image, pretty obvious why this is good, but the ability to make a ready reflection unit token of anything, that's insane. Mirror Image, very good. Can completely change games, this card. And it's a pretty cool card, and I think they've done a good job with LeBlanc. Keeper's Verdict, giving Poppy a Rebuke when she's a whole deck. Pretty crazy. It's an ever so slightly better version of Rebuke as well. Ripper's Bay. Battlefields that you get no joy or love out of tend to be pretty annoying. Ripper's Bay is going to be one that's purely for Pike and going to, if in certain games, get him quite ahead. Frozen Fortress, this one is more just certain cards and decks going to be able to do some really annoying stuff. This honestly could be a decent card if you read Elder Dragon. Dinah No Longer Human is a card going Aurelia and just the ability she's going to be able to get. You might think you kill her and then she just does one spell, like even a Stupefy will get her to 4. She's pretty crazy and that is a really good ability. And she's got Ambush. Baron Nashor, going to be able to do crazy stuff with Baron. In Aurora decks is going to be a really annoying card. Evelyn basically can charm a unit from hidden. Very good card. Elder Dragon, probably the most powerful card we've seen released yet in Riftbound. Obviously, he comes in as the most, I think it's the most expensive card in the game. It's the max energy cost and it's 4 power. So, fair enough. But the fact people are going to be able to get this in Aurora decks, very annoying. It'll be very, very hard to play around. When this card comes out early in Aurora, you tend to win the game. And when you play choose up to 1 enemy units, each location deal 1 to them. The fact that any amount of damage is enough to kill enemies. Probably won't work with that Frozen Wasteland effect. It says your damage, not just damage. Irresistible Faithful, cute little card. And it's basically got an inbuilt charm. That's very good. Zillion Time Made. I don't know how much play this card will see, but once each turn, if you play a token unit while I'm at battlefield, you may play that token and an additional copy of it instead. I'd be interested to see, like, if we get much synergy with Victor. When it says if you play a token unit while I'm at battlefield, you may get an additional one. I wonder if, like, Vanguard Armory, does this mean in Vanguard Armory instead of 3 recruits you get 6? That could be pretty crazy. Is there, like, ways that you can win the game with Grand Plaza with this Zillion? I don't know. That could be something fun to try out. Could be a pretty cool way of winning, though. But yeah, Zillion Time Age. I do think Vanguard Armory with him does work. Turn to Dust. Give a gear temporary. 2 energy to just basically kill a gear the next turn is pretty crazy. That is going to be very good into Aurora decks. That'll be a side tech. I think that'll be a side tech that a lot of decks do use. Blue decks, at least. Master Unstoppable. If you play against that Yi deck and he gets going early, this card coming out literally will be unstoppable, especially in Reckoner's Arena games. Undying Legion, a card that you can just play from your trash, just constant cards that they can use. I think this is a card that in the future could do some crazy stuff depending on what we get released. And there we go. That is all the cards that I've looked at. There's obviously more cards we could have discussed. I've heard being able to turn Legend, being able to turn Battlefields to Brush is pretty crazy. And yeah, I think there's a lot of cool stuff going with Set Free. I really like the look of Set Free. Hopefully, this video, you enjoyed it. I appreciate you all tuning in. As always, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.